Here we are, Hawkers, hitting record when maybe all we want to do is run and hide and ignore what was a heartbreaking loss to Port Adelaide. I'm sure we'll pluck some positives from the game over the next little while right here on the Hawk Talk podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nick Mason, and with me as always is my esteemed co-host Tiz. And mate, we all know who's to blame for this, sitting up in the box, watching it all unfold. It's Campbell Brown.
Wasn't that terrific? I've got to say, though, that I did my fair share of telling people we were going to win about during the third quarter. I was messaging other Hawk supporters, making sure they were watching.
Yeah, in fact, I think you went even earlier than that with me.
Did I? About the second quarter, I said they were putrid and it's all over.
Yeah, something like that.
I noticed in the background your TV's askew. Are you going to...
Oh, it's because I'm moving, you idiot.
You didn't get up and kick it.
Well, I got to say, I did get up. I was pacing, and I've never really done that before. So that was interesting. I'd never really experienced that watching a game at home. I was up and pacing at the start of the last quarter.
At the start of the last quarter?
Yeah, so I knew something was afoot. And I heard the commentators talking about, 10 minutes on the clock, on the TV clock.
Oh, don't mention the clock.
Where do Port Adelaide go from here? And it's like, no, you've gone too early. And yeah, as for the clock, that whole debacle, can someone keep time, please? But it's all right, mate. The AFL will sign off on it. It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, no, we all make mistakes, mate. So let's just live with it.
It's only a multi-million-dollar industry. Who cares?
But look, we're focusing on the result when that is the least of our worries.
What should we be worried about?
Who cares if we won or not? We get a better draft pick. And we played fantastically for much of that game, totally undermanned.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved how we played. I loved our ball movement. You can definitely say that the moment CJ went off, we lost something dramatically.
I want to start with this question from Yorick because I think it speaks to what you're getting at here. Yorick asks, can you focus on how much there was to like? I was gutted at the siren, but looking back, some great performances from young players and players returning alike. And I think we have to start with the undisputed MVP of round 10 here, mate. It's Blake Hardwick.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least, we could put him in defence when it mattered. So there's always that.
What did you make of that? Because I know you've seen Sammy's presser, right? And I think he explained the rationale behind it.
Yeah. Did you accept that rationale or what?
No, not quite. And I think it starts from leaving CJ on the park. I think that's where the mistake was made.
Don't tell me that our sub wasn't a good sub again. I mean, so many things went right. They attacked the contest early. They had Port Adelaide on the back foot. They were kicking goals. Port Adelaide kept missing. The crowd was quiet. Everything was going our way. Bit on the nose to say Connor McDonald could have won another match off his own boot.
Oh, why do you have to go there? Why do you have to say that?
Well, it's true.
He hit the post. You can't get much more close than that.
Well, yeah.
How can you pin it on one player, how things turned around?
Look, the important thing is it's 3 times he's had the opportunity to kill the game this season. Isn't it? Like, he knows. We know.
Yeah, all right. Look, we were meant to be focusing on some positives here. I want to talk up Blake Hardwick.
We'll get there. Blake Hardwick, absolutely incredible. 5 goals in a term.
4 in a term, wasn't it? And then, was it 5.5 in the end? I don't know. But he kicked 4 in the first quarter.
Sorry, 4 in the first quarter, yeah. Felt like 5. He's just uncannily accurate, isn't he? He's our best forward.
He is indeed, yeah, out of nowhere. That's an experiment that's very much worked, so credit Sam Mitchell for that. 5 goals from the efficiency king. I mean, we knew that he had a lethal boot on him, and the precise passing in defence, that's long been established, but his ability to be able to transfer that up forward has been fantastic. So 5 goals in all, and 2 goal assists, too. With 23 touches, an equal team-high 13 contested possessions, matched by Will Day.
Will Day's incredible. To be still not fit, but having the impact he has. 27 touches at 70% disposal efficiency, but 13 contested, 15 uncontested, 4 marks, 6 intercepts, 5 clearances, and the highest pressure points for us. Connor McDonald was incredible too. He had like 8 tackles. It's a really, really good performance.
We just look different with Day in. We look better. We look more likely. There's just something more dynamic about Hawthorn with Will Day back in the side.
Let's not forget Meek.
Yeah, absolutely. His hot run of form continues.
He's making our midfield look good again by his attack on the footy and his ability to get to the ball first. Excellent stuff from Meek.
Massimo D'Ambrosio, I mean, could you have predicted that he would be such a stellar recruit? He was everywhere this game, 28 touches and all. I don't think he had an outstanding game. I thought he had some pretty weak moments defensively, but he was so involved. He was everywhere.
It was the way he was taking ground too. He was excellent. And inside and outside, good balance to his game. It was just the way they were out-competing Port Adelaide. The way every now and again I used to lament how, especially against stronger sides, they always seemed to outnumber us at the contest. But we were doing that against Port Adelaide. And our ball movement and the speed of the movement and the accuracy of the inside 50s was fantastic. And to do that away from home when you've got a fullback who's a debutant, they must have such confidence in Phillips. I know I do. I didn't see him really put a foot wrong.
No, I think aside from the result, it's about as successful a debut for a fullback as you could get. 10 touches at 100% disposal efficiency, 4 of those contested, 3 marks. Didn't look out of place at all.
Even had a score involvement, mate.
Did he? There you go.
We did have some beautiful goals too. We're just an exciting team.
What about the one from Marbior Chol on cruise control?
It was so almost agonisingly slow, but he didn't want to miss.
No, that's fine. He had the time, he had the space, and he took the moments. I really liked that goal. It was a beautiful shot. It's a difficult angle on the run. And he had some great defensive acts as well. I think Chol has come in for a lot of criticism from Hawks fans. And I understand. It sort of swings back and forth, a pendulum type effect between, yeah, okay, well, there's great potential and the talent is there, but also, God, he looks like he's coasting at times, looks a bit lazy, but you can see, my word, when the application is there, he is capable of some great influence on the contest.
Yeah, I haven't seen him switched on defensively like that before. He was actually making the Port Adelaide defenders think twice. Even Cal Shadir is just absolutely... Look, he looks like he doesn't have a ceiling at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. 21 pressure acts from the kid. I mean, that from a tall forward is extraordinary. That ranks among our best for the game.
It's not even just that. It's the he's not big enough, he's not fit enough, but he's so willing. You know what I mean? And he has an uncanny knack for taking a mark. The timing is brilliant. 2
really good contested marks this game, and he kicked a goal as well. I didn't really appreciate how BT burned through the deer in headlights quip for the kid's 3rd game. I mean, thought that was a bit weak.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even done that one, and we usually get him out real early.
I just thought it was a little bit of a low blow, but he did redeem himself later with a goal, which was nice. Connor McDonald, we've touched on with a team-high 8 tackles. Mate, we've run through all the positives, and we arrive at this question from Saul. Why does it hurt so bad? We went to Adelaide expecting to be beaten. Mate, you and I flagged it on the podcast. We even talked pre-game. What are our expectations? And both of us thought, oh, look, it's probably an L. Probably going to cop an L today. Probably 5+ goals. And who knows to what extent that plus is a factor. It could have been 10 goals. Who knows? We don't perform well against this mob on their home turf. That's a fact. And so why does it hurt so bad? It was there. It was right there.
And we were robbed. That's why it hurts so bad.
Are you subscribing to that? Because I don't defer to that at all.
I got to say, and I don't know why, but I was so caught up in the positives that last 5 minutes didn't really... Like, at some point in the game, I knew Hawthorn had to defend, right? And I thought it would be that second quarter. I thought I'd seen us sort of pull back, get our energy levels back to some kind of sustainable for the rest of the match. But we, having kept our heads the weeks before, We just didn't keep our head against Port Adelaide in the cauldron that it is.
Well, we had a question from Ali, and it's probably the question on everyone's minds. What went wrong? And we also had this submission from Paul. Mitchell in his press conference inferred that they'll need to address why the team didn't stay attacking in the fourth term. This makes no sense. Surely one of the 5 coaches makes mention of this at three-quarter time or during the fourth term. Did the players have too much control? It just seemed odd. Now, Tiz, I want to share with you a little bit of a theory about what happened here, and I don't think it has to be that complicated. With the Dogs and the Saints wins, both contests really close, coming down to the wire, and there seems to be, amongst the team heading into the Port game, this collective consciousness, this recognition of what works, about how to kill the contest and force stoppages and turn off the attacking side of the game. They did it against the Dogs. It worked. They shut the door on them. It was great. Did the same for the Saints. Yeah, of course, it was tight there at the ends. There was in their forward 50, but we did it. We held strong. I think the mindset when the heat started being turned up on them, when it was about 22 points, I really think there was a collective consciousness in this team. Oh, we've been here. Oh, the heat's coming? Oh, just shut it down. Just shut it down. But it was far too early. They lost something. The DNA of that side that had that ascendancy completely disappeared. And that's a problem.
Yeah, but Butters has gone from 6 touches in the first quarter, 6 touches in the second, to 3 in the third, and then bloody 17 in the last quarter.
Well, that got me thinking as well. It made me wonder who our heroes are. And Blake Hardwick was incredible, don't get me wrong. But from week to week, Butters is a player that does this kind of thing for his side. And it just made me wonder, who are our guys that do that? I think we're still finding them.
Well, I mean, Newcomb had 10, and I think he went head-to-head with Butters, didn't he? Which I think was probably ill thought out by the coaches. You just nullify the guy.
Maybe it would have been nice to have Finn McGuinness.
Yeah, well, Nash, there were a lot of guys who only got 1 or 2 touches or even 0 in that last quarter. They were gassed. And, I thought I thought Port had come out, score really well against us, which is always the threat. And then, it's very hard. We've done very well in the last 4 weeks. And, we'd hit a wall physically. I thought that would happen. We're not the fittest side on the park, so I thought that might occur. But we got everything we could out of ourselves in that first half. And, guys like Impey and Seamus Mitchell, Weddle, don't know if he's carrying an injury. Impey must have been well held for much of the game because he didn't seem to have much influence. And that's just the coaching of Port Adelaide. I'm a bit frustrated in Jack Ginnivan. How are you seeing Jack Ginnivan at the moment?
This is probably the first time that I looked at his game, and in real time I was like, mate, stop ducking. Come on, lift your head. I know you're trying to barrel through. Head down, barrel through. It's not working for you. It's forcing a stoppage, but every player was doing that for us in the last term. So, I don't know. I started to see the narrative around him, and I didn't like it.
He didn't really get many touches back of centre either, which is something he likes to do, to be part of the ball movement. But, 5 seconds to go, you let through an RC goal. And, I mean, Amon should have just put it on the boot or whatever, right? He had many options.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It was a remarkable finish. Like, that was just an extraordinarily RC goal. And, sometimes, that's footy. Footy can be cruel like that. It just takes that RC moment, and that's the game.
Yeah, I mean, Amon was terrific all day. And then he's left to watch that happen.
But also, Amon, with the free kick against on, was it Rioli?
Well, they're getting tired, That's what happens.
It all just fell apart after so much good work. And I'm glad that you're somewhat feeling insulated by all the positives. It's been annoying me. Every time I think of the game, it pops into my head. It just has bothered me since the final siren.
But the game plan, man, it works so well. Probably too well, because they were gassed for those last 10 minutes. They had run their hearts out, and it's very unfortunate that they weren't rewarded because, that's exactly how I want to see them play. But with a bit of maturity about holding the ball every now and again and letting them get their breaths back.
Well, that speaks to the question from Pato here. Do they learn more from the loss than the euphoria of a narrow win that might mask the failings of the last quarter.
Yeah, I mean, do you have to suffer to learn? I think you probably do in footy, don't you?
Well, I suppose so. I hope it doesn't dent their confidence too greatly. But the thing I'll say about that is they're going to watch the tape anyway. Like, you would expect the club to go through their processes and their due diligence of reviewing the game and all that. I think that was going to happen. So, I don't know. Pato's point, though, maybe a loss has more impact in the long run. Maybe it does inspire them. A win puts, wind in their sails. It gives them confidence. But maybe long term, this could be argued to have a bigger impact. I don't know.
It's been a long time where they've been learning from losing anyway, Nick. I think, do you know what I mean? They've had to learn from losses, and sometimes big losses. I think they've learned how to take the gold where they can, where they can find it. Newcomb's last quarter, terrific, real leadership stuff. I mean, even Hardwick going back, he had an impact. I think that was the right move, but they needed to be patient when they came out of defence. You needed some cooler heads. And I don't know. Get the sub right, you win the game. CJ's fit, I think you win the game. All little things.
Sicily, Scrimshaw.
Yep. Like, without them, this is a terrific result, mate.
Well, that's what I thought, because a lot of people pointed to that. No Sicily, no Scrimshaw. But then I couldn't help but fall back on, yeah, but we were right there anyway without them. So a lot was going right without those two stars, and they are stars. Let's get to some more questions. This one from Boyd. Meek is by far our best ruckman. Does Reeves get another chance without Meek getting injured?
Well, no, I don't think they want to play two rucks, so I don't think he does.
It'd be a question of form, but the thing is, doesn't look like Lloyd Meek is slowing down anytime soon.
What will happen when we're trying for premierships is you will need two rucks that are very good, because you'll need to rotate them throughout the year.
We can only hope that Reeves continues to come along and find some form at VFL level. I noticed that he's off the injury list now. So I think it was a hand complaint? I think it was. Ned Reeves had some sort of hand injury, and he should be available this week, according to the injury list.
Box Hill had the weekend off, so that was a bit boring.
It could have been a bit of a shining light in the darkness, mate, because the VFLW team got beaten by bottom-placed Darebin.
Now, I believe that's because they got stuck in the rooms. Is that right? And they just started the game without them on the field. Is that correct? Because Darebin are bottom of that ladder, and they beat us in top.
Yeah, they did. A most surprising result, and even more surprising is that we're still top of the ladder. Go figure. So we've held firm there, but I mean, the drop-off in form from where Box Hill VFLW started is a little bit concerning, so we'll have to watch that space going forward. We have a question from Neil here. To me, it feels like we're about 3 players short of a finals team, 1 in each line. Do we really have a shot at trading the necessary players in, or do we have to grow our own? For what it's worth, Deer and Weddle are looking extraordinary for their ages right now.
Yeah, so you've got to get guys under 26, don't you?
There's actually a question here from Hawk12 that speaks to this. He wonders if we're up to us, would we go hard with the draft picks, as in trading them out to bring in players in the 22 to 25 age group, like Bailey Smith? I think that is the age group we need to be looking at. Well, we need leadership anyway. A complement to all the young players we have.
You want Bailey Smith off an ACL?
You've been the one that's been huge on Bailey Smith to Hawthorn, mate, not me.
Yeah, but that was at the end of last year as meant to come.
Well, it almost got done, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. Our wings would look terrific.
Mate, we already have a terrific-looking wings. His name's Chad.
Hey, he must be putting his hand up to come back too.
I would say so, yeah. I reckon he has, maybe one more showing in the VFL, and if he ticks that box, I reckon he'll be in the frame.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of using the draft picks to go and get already made talent. I think we should just keep going to the draft for another year at least.
Yeah, I got to say, in my head, I probably had one more year of that before we change our philosophy there, change our approach. But I think to Neil's point, 3 players short of a finals team, 1 in each line, that rings true for me. Yeah.
Yeah, who are you thinking? Dusty, Dunstall?
It's not.
Langford at the back or something.
It's not so much specific personnel. It's key defensive post, zippy midfielder, so a very gun speedy midfielder, and a key forward post.
Can I just call out how good it was to have Burgoyne in the box?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't he great to listen to? A breath of fresh air.
Oh, mate, the whole commentary team I thought was pretty good, apart from Campbell Brown at the death.
Oh, I like Campbell Brown. You're being a bit harsh. He's only there because the VFL wasn't on.
I think Campbell Brown's a great commentator, but that was a moment I'm sure he'd like back.
Nah, I think he's reveling in it. I think he's absolute. If he's at the Peter Crimmins, there's going to be some references to that. That'll be for sure.
Hawk 1-2, the flip side of their question, would we continue to use picks to hit the draft knowing they're not improving the list immediately, whoever we bring in? Unless you get a Harley Reid, which is highly unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what you have to do. I think you just need to, for a little while at least, just keep rebuilding. I don't think this list is good enough to go deep into finals yet, do you?
I mean, it could be in time, but not this year.
And you can't go and get a Bailey Smith and keep these top-end picks. So you'd have to pick the eyes out of some guys that are being used out of position. But we've seen it. We were able to do that with Massimo D'Ambrosio. So we can get that done. What I wanted to say to you, though, mentioning the draft, is Mitch Lewis. Can we list him as a long-term injury yet, Nick? It was too painful for him to train, is what I heard.
Well, Peter Burge was talking about, okay, well, we're just going to get rid of all of his loading and then we'll just start from the bottom again. And I thought, okay, well, he regards that as a positive, but I don't really know about that.
Sounds like he's ripped up the textbook, Nick. He's like, I can't find anything in here of use. Let's just start from scratch again.
He's taken away the targeting computer, Star Wars style. He's like, all right, fine, we'll just use the Force on this one, I guess.
Oh, God, I don't know what that means. But sounds good. Got
to be careful using the Force. You might get about 4 or 5 weeks.
Parker. Did you see what he did?
Yeah, well, he basically ended his career, maybe.
6 weeks.
Let's get back on track here with a question from Aidan. We were 13th on the live ladder until literally 2 seconds left, but in the grand scheme of things, as you said at the top tiers, does it actually matter?
No, it doesn't. But it does come November, when we probably get a better pick.
And Reese says here, I thought this was great. 5 weeks ago, we were destroyed by Sydney, and now fans are upset we didn't win a 3rd game in a row. What realistic expectations should we have for this group for the rest of the year? Fantastic question.
Well, mate, we play Richmond twice.
Yeah, well, I would hope to mark those down as 2 wins. I mean, they are deplorable.
And suddenly the Cats are hairless.
Have they found the cliff, mate? Tell me they've finally found the cliff.
I don't know.
I want to believe.
I did pick Gold Coast, so I felt good about that.
Yes, well, Gold Coast have a knack. As we Hawthorn fans know, they certainly play well up there.
It's ridiculous, really, how good they are in Darwin.
So what expectations should we have? I mean, we're going to talk about the Brisbane game coming up, and then who else have we got after that? I think we play GWS soon, who we might find at a bit of a low ebb.
They've been a bit strange. We've got Adelaide. I'm looking forward to the Adelaide game on June 1st, isn't it?
Yep, and then a month from now, as you say, we've got the Tigers. That's the first of those clashes. So, I don't know, maybe the next month isn't so bad, but it'll just be interesting to see how the guys bounce back from this. I hope they don't take the loss too hard, the way that it happened.
We have Richmond and then the Kangaroos for the final 2 rounds. So you could easily see us getting 3, maybe 4 more wins.
You know, it's interesting. I have sort of turned a bit of a corner with Hawthorn. I think towards the start of the season, it was really hard to see any improvement from 2023 to now, but I am starting to see it.
Yeah, I got a bit shirty because I got to round 7, round 6, round 7, I was like, I cannot see anything. And that's as long as I usually give the new recruits and the coach to get his model going. And if it hasn't worked by then for a younger team, you're like, oh, this is going to be really tough this year. And I began to feel that's what it would be. And then we got a bit of a confidence boost against North. And although we've been robbed of our best talent, the buy-in, perhaps it's because their backs are to the wall. I don't know. But the buy-in into the game style has been delicious. And they're so courageous in the way they move that footy that it pays off, because it's unexpected for a team this low on the ladder to move the ball that quickly and get their men out of position.
Even the losses this year don't have the same quality as last year. They're somewhat, if you can have such a thing, more palatable losses. They're not absolute domination, with the exception maybe of Sydney, but then look at what Sydney are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always been spells during the game where you could see that we actually had something that troubled opposition. Usually they responded not within quarter, but after quarter time when they had to talk to the line coaches and then they managed to sort of tinker and fix it. And you're starting to see Mitchell be able to respond mid-game with his own moves to stop that from happening. And it nearly worked on the weekend against a formidable side in a cauldron-like atmosphere with a very young team.
It's a team that's going to have some reinforcements perhaps as soon as this week. We'll get to the injury list now. James Sicily, the ankle is out of the frame now. We won't worry about that. That's apparently all good. It's just the shoulder that's holding him back at this point. He's a test for this week, so we'll wait to see if he lines up against Brisbane. Jack O'Sullivan is recovering from a hamstring injury, 2 weeks away. Cooper Stevens is back on the sidelines. He's a test with his Achilles injury. Mitch Lewis, as we said, still TBC. I'm not seeing that changing anytime soon. As I said, they've reduced his loading back to nothing. They're building him back up. How long that's going to take, we really don't know. Will McCabe, with his back complaint, 3 to 5 weeks away. And, of course, we've got the season-ending injuries of James Blank and Sam Butler. So all things told, mate. I mean, that injury list is beginning to thin out.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, Box Hill are going to look a lot better with Sicily and Scrimmer back. And... Where are we putting Sicily? Can we dump him in the midfield, or heaven forbid set him forward? Or Scrimmer doesn't mind going forward. He's been there, done that.
As crazy as it sounds, it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility to see either of them float forward. I mean, the defence is, it's held up against my expectations. I did not think that it would be doing this well.
Now, did you watch what happened to the Tigers?
Bits and pieces, yeah. I watched more of the Bulldogs game the week before.
What do you expect?
Oh, well, I wouldn't read into it for Brisbane. I mean, what do they gain from that? It's a training drill. It's nothing in the way of preparation. I just don't know how. It'd be foolish of them to have too much of a swagger after that.
But they were so hungry for the entire contest.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Is it?
Oh, downhill skiing to a T, mate. That's exactly what it is. It's all rosy when it's coming as easy as that.
Righto. Okay, fair enough. But 163 to 44? That's just...
Yeah, the Bulldogs did the same, and we beat them. I'm not worried. It says more about Richmond and how dire things are there. And the state of their injury list is just absolutely... It's a train wreck, their list at the moment.
What about the VFL? They got done by 102, didn't they?
They did. It was a double. 2 lots of domination for them over the weekend. So no, I don't really read into it for Brisbane. I think it would be foolish to do that, and I don't suppose that we'll get torn apart by them. I think it would be a good contest. I mean, Brisbane, oddly enough, they're a team that we have a pretty good record against lately.
Yeah, they've lost Rafa Nadal too, so... He won't be in their forward 50.
Do you rate Hipwood? Because I don't rate Hipwood.
Do I rate Hipwood? Yes, I do. I remember absolutely slaughtering Caden Brand when I went up there to mistakenly watch a game. Do you remember when I did that? God, I was so angry.
I do. Didn't you run into Dipper at some point?
Yeah, I did. That was the highlight of the entire vacation.
Look, I don't really rate Hipwood that highly, but it's one less thing for us to worry about, that he's suspended and he'll miss the game. So, I don't know, it takes away one of their weapons. It only serves us pretty well, I think.
I think we can do quite well against Brisbane. I wouldn't discount surprising them as we did Port Adelaide, but I just wonder whether they've got enough in the tank.
Well, what changes would you make? Because this is a side that could potentially have Sicily back. You'd say that Scrimshaw is definitely in.
So Phillips just drops out?
Oh, I'm loath to do that because he didn't really do much wrong.
Well, look, why did they wait so long to bring him in? Like, if you're advocating for Phillips to stay in, I'm happy for that because it frees up Sicily. We can let him at his marauding best across the half-back line.
Exactly, yeah, that's been my idea from the start. I thought that's what they were doing.
But then the Mosquito fleet were great for long periods. So who are you? You rob Peter to pay Paul. We're going to lose a bit of speed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I wonder whether does Seamus Mitchell stay in the side?
I think Sarong might need a rest.
Yeah, Sarong will probably come out for Scrimshaw, I would say.
Deere probably needs a rest as well. I don't want to see it happen, but he will need a rest at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm the same as you.
And if Weddle's numbers indicate anything, it's probably that he's hurt himself because he usually finds a way to will himself into the contest. So, especially at important moments. And for a young man, that's just unbelievable. I know he couldn't do it on the weekend, but I'm quite content. I don't know whether you can tell. I'm quite content now with the trajectory of the side.
Yep. No, you're very upbeat. I wanted to ask you about CJ. Full game coming up this week?
Look, he only had 8 touches in 3 quarters.
He played 59 minutes, I think. Or 59%, sorry, game time.
Yeah. What I've got to say, though, is his ball retention was far improved. I love that. I didn't think that would improve by him not playing, but apparently it has.
He's missed the footy so much, mate. He just wants to hold on to
it. Fair enough. But look, can we just watch Hardwick in the forward 50? Because that is a thing of beauty. I don't think I've ever thought of any backman going forward and keeping 5 like he does.
Yeah, it's a most unexpected delight of season 2024.
We are back at Adelaide Oval. So we could see another 5. That's round 20 when we head to Adelaide because we've still got to play them twice.
Well, maybe the fixture is actually looking not bad, but it just depends. We'll see how we can carry on this form, eh?
I went to the G and watched them play Collingwood when Rankin ran too far and did a hammy in the process.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because by the letter of the law, he did. But there's no game feel from the umpire there.
It's awful.
No sense of occasion.
I really wanted to see the Pies done.
I think everyone did.
I mean, I was there I took my best mate and his young son, who's 4, and got him a little Collingwood football. And I said to him, all right, you want some food before the match? Do you want, I'm thinking this kid is going to last like 20 minutes. We'll be out of here, won't have to stay for the result, hear all the song and everything. He said, when we arrived about an hour before the game, can we go to the seats because I don't want to miss anything?
Instantly backfired.
And I'm like, sure. So this kid with nothing to look at is agog with everything going around. He didn't move. He went to the toilet once, and then we thought at halftime, surely he'll want to leave. But Auskick came out, and he's like, this is fantastic.
Finally, a good contest.
And so we couldn't leave again. I got sent to get chips, and I just watched this child inhale chips for the third quarter. It's great fun. I can't remember what I was like at that age, but I remember I was taken to Waverley Park in the middle of the 80s and going, I remember I had to have a bomber jacket and a scarf and a beanie and everything. And I was still cold.
Well, I mean, it's not nicknamed Arctic Park for nothing, mate.
Anyway, this kid did not miss a bit of action. I managed to position him behind another kid so he could see everything. And I gave him some binoculars, and he was wrapped. So, unfortunately, I've created a pie for life. But we know from your experience that he might have a, road to Damascus moment, eh? See the light and come to Hawthorn after you nearly went for Essendon.
Yeah, I've never not been Hawthorn, but definitely it was, another Star Wars reference. Going to the dark side, eh? Almost happened. Entertained it, but no. Never going to be swung away from Hawthorn. Not then, not ever. Mate, we need to wrap up. We'll get to some social media stuff. If you've enjoyed this episode, if it's been valuable therapy after what was a rough round 10 for the Hawks, we'd love for you to rate and review our show, whether it's via Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Basically, if you enjoy what we do, spread the word, help us out. Meanwhile, we're always keen for people to jump on our social channels and join the conversation. Get on board X, Facebook, and Instagram. Talk all things Hawthorn with us and the Hawthorn community. And finally, we'd like to salute our proud, passionate, and paid-up Patreon subscribers, the people that love our show and support our show. We want to take this opportunity now to give a shout-out to some of our brown and gold brethren. A few people have gone behind our work via Patreon in the past month or so. Thank you to Sam, Jared, Adrian, Woody, Rangerbeard, and the Spaghettist. We must emphasise that you all make a big contribution to this podcast, all of our subscribers, towards the show being everything that it is. So we thank you all for that. If you feel like you could support the show and get a whole archive of extra Hawk Talk podcast stuff, do head to our Patreon page and subscribe. All the details are at patreon.com/HawkTalkPod.
So will you be there on Sunday?
I will definitely be there on Sunday at Marvel Stadium. I think that was one side effect of the game playing out the way that it did. It was so... The way it played out, I was like, okay, that's a loss, and no, next game. On to the next game. Erase this feeling. Let's get to Marvel Stadium. I'm headed there now. I'm going to jump the tram. I'll head to Marvel Stadium right now. So I am very hungry for this next contest. And you know what, mate? I think we're a good chance.
Yeah, I think it would be churlish not to turn up and support them after their efforts, because they've been really good and they've been entertaining.
Absolutely right. Also, we need to flag that next Wednesday at 7 p.m. is the 2024 mid-season rookie draft. So that's something we look forward to covering ourselves too.
Right. Well, I better free myself up then. Okay, done.
Maybe we might do fire off a few tweets. Yes, I still call them tweets. Or we might do a space or something. I don't know. It should be interesting. I mean, we might only be taking one pick, but a lot of intrigue around that pick.
The former Sydney draftee Ling, apparently he's looking. Maybe there's a bit of scuttlebutt about Hawthorn looking at him.
Yeah, well, 'tis the season for many players getting medicals because all these clubs are sussing them out, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets the nod for the brown and gold. So a lot to look forward to. Either way, we're going to be back next week to recap all the action from round 11, Marvel Stadium, Brisbane Lions, 1:10 p.m. on Sunday. We'll be there. We hope to see you there too. We'll be back next week for the Hawk Talk podcast. We are a happy team at Hawthorn.